Hello everyone, Daryl the Northern Vinyl Guy back at it with another video. And in this video, this is a response to Richard at Richard's Vinyl Tap House. He has just celebrated his 1 year anniversary in the VC. I'm sure many of you already know this, as this thread has been going around for a little bit here, this challenge, this thread. So Richard, to celebrate his 1 year anniversary, has requested that we show some albums in which we were kind of inspired by the VC to purchase throughout the last year or two, or whenever throughout your VC channel history. So that is what I am here to do, is to show some records that I have purchased, possibly because of another VC channel, or just that I was inspired by purchasing. So he's just requested to show, say, 3 to 5 records that you have in your collection, name the channels, kind of shout them out, and explain why you bought them and things of that nature. So without further ado, that is what I am going to do. And I'm actually going to start off with Richard. When I was out this summer, I was at some flea markets and things like that, but then I was at a specific store. I was just kind of browsing around and just going alphabetically through the crates, and I came across Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, OMD. I could also say that Brian from the Embryonic Robot likely inspired me for this one. Both Richard and Embryonic Robot do like OMD. And this one here is the one that has Forever Live and Die on it. What's it called? In the Dark. Or no, not In the Dark. This is The Pacific Age. Sorry, The Pacific Age. But this is the one that has Forever Live and Die, which actually is my favorite personal OMD song. I don't know a whole lot about OMD, other than their main, hits here in North America. And one of these days I am going to try to delve a little bit more into OMD. So if you have any suggestions on to which album I should go for next, feel free to leave a comment down below. Now, speaking of Embryonic Robot, once again, I know that Brian has talked about musicians, Canadian musicians such as Leonard Cohen and things like that. Those are his favorites, but he has also talked at times about Bruce Cockburn, and for some reason, I could be wrong, but I was inspired to buy this. This was an $8 purchase at a flea market, but this is Big Circumstance by Bruce Cockburn. I know that, Brian and I have talked about this on some live streams, but Bruce Cockburn, he's a really good Canadian musician, kind of underrated. This one is the one that has If a Tree Falls. If a Tree Falls in the Forest. Is anybody here? And so yeah, if you haven't checked this album out, you haven't listened to Bruce Cockburn, do so. Give it a shot. Really good Canadian music, and I recommend. Now, speaking of recommendations, or at least inspired, my good friend Rob from Northern Revolutions, Wednesday night, me, Rob, and Joe from On a Vinyl, and I will shout out Joe and Rob both on this. Both have been really influential in me kind of building my collection and getting to know musicians that I might be less familiar with. Although in this case, to say that I'm not familiar with this musician here, Bruce Springsteen, would kind of be a misnomer. I definitely am familiar with Bruce Springsteen. When I was in high school, I had a compilation on CD and things like that. But the Tunnel of Love album, I don't have Nebraska. That is a highly talked about album in our kind of circle on our show, and one of these days I am going to get Nebraska. But we have been talking about the Tunnel of Love album. I know, Richard is a big fan of this, probably his favorite Springsteen album as well, but I was definitely influenced by Rob and Joe, big fans of Bruce Springsteen, and when, in joining their show, and and now becoming a full-time member and participant. We do talk about Bruce quite a lot, and I forgot over the years that there was just more than, Born to Run and Born in the USA. And after listening to this one, I'm erring on the side that Tunnel of Love might be my favorite Bruce album. Now, along with that, I had completely forgot that this band even existed. And, Rob, Joe, and we were talking about this band, and I happened to come across this at a flea market in the summer. And that's Barney Bentall and the Legendary Hearts. The big track on this is Something to Live For. This is a great Canadian rock band. And I had totally forgot about this group. So, happened to see it, like I said, and inspired to buy it because it's just amazing. Now, another person that often shows up as a guest on our channel on Wednesday nights, or our show on Wednesday nights, is John from Music Talk. And if you know John from Music Talk, you know that his favorite musician of all time is Billy Joel. And kind of the same thing that I was in with, Bruce Springsteen and Barney Bentall in my previous choice. I had come across this Bruce album, this Billy Joel album, Glass Houses, and I had forgot how good Billy Joel was, right? I mean, I did have some Billy Joel. I do have Billy Joel in my collection, but in talking with Music Talk, and picking up a few over time, it's just inspiring me to kind of take a look at his collection a little bit more. I'm definitely looking for more 80s Billy Joel. That is my preferred decade of his. But this one here is great. Managed to get it for a decent price. I think like $3 to $5, something like that. So yeah, Billy Joel and Glass Houses. Now, every now and again, you come across a channel, and it's usually through, in this case, it was definitely through kind of an advertising thing. They were advertising their album that they had recorded, and that is Adam from The Freight. They had a video on how they recorded everything. This is a Fidelity album, and in talking with Adam, it's a bit of an ordeal to get this from the States to Canada. Most of us are well aware the shipping costs and all that kind of stuff getting to Canada is crazy. But him and I got talking in the comments section, plus, through email and stuff like that, and we made an arrangement to get this to me. This is a 500 copied limited test pressing, and as you can see, it is signed, autographed by all the members of the band. That's their Tales of Maybe album. But I was really inspired by the recording process and how they went about doing it. It's a really cool process. If you haven't checked out the video, definitely check out The Freight. They have their own YouTube channel, and do talk about music from time to time on there. So The Freight, Adam from there. Now, a channel that hasn't been active as of late, it's been 6 or 7 months since she's put out a video, and that's Amy's Vinyl Experience. Now, before she had to kind of redo her channel, I was a subscriber of her before, and she had done a series about Alice in Chains, and she kind of ranked their albums and talked about their albums and looked at all the lyrics to the songs and stuff like that. And I had completely forgot how good Alice in Chains was. When I was in university, I owned this on CD, the Jar of Flies EP, and of course this has Don't Follow, it's got Whale and Wasp, it's got No Excuses, I Stay Away, some of their big hits on an EP. And I was inspired by her to the point where this past year I ended up getting 3 Alice in Chains albums. So Alice in Chains Dirt, This is the one that has Rooster on it, which is a fantastic song. Angry Chair, Wood, and Down in a Hole. There we go. That's the other one. So I got that Alice in Chains. And then I got this one here, which is the Facelift one. And of course, Facelift is the one that has Man in the Box. A huge hit. And I remember, actually, it was Man in the Box that I heard first out of all the Alice in Chains stuff, watching Beavis and Butthead of all things, when Beavis and Butthead were talking about the music videos that they have in some of their episodes. So, Alice in Chains, Amy's Vinyl Experience. All right, now, most of us in the VC, I mean, you're either collecting 33s or you might be collecting 12 inches or 12-inch singles. And then there are those that collect 45s. And Boz from that vinyl channel, he's got all kinds of cool 45s. And I mean, I don't typically buy 45s too often, but I was in a thrift store over the summer and I was just taking a look at the records. And then I came across this Seth Tucker and the Uptown Dudes and a song called I Hate Country Music, which I think is a hilarious song for a country group. But the reason I bought this is just, I think it's fascinating when you come across a group that you've never heard of before. It's a rarity. I had to input this one to Discogs. They didn't exist on there. And I just thought it was a really unique, I guess, local press from the location that I was in. And I always like watching Boz's channel and checking out 45s. I always do when I go into the thrift stores and stuff like that. Don't buy them too often, just because I would really like to get a jukebox, a Wurlitzer, but those are just beyond ridiculous in price. And of course, the Hydro bill would probably go up through the roof in that case. So thank you, Boz, though. I just love looking at your 45 collection whenever you talk about it. Some of the colored vinyl, the rarities, the 1950 stuff that you have. Very cool inspiration for 45s. And then last but not least, I'm going to shout out my friend Chris over in Wales, Chris Mann. I've been on his Sunday night shows a couple times, and he's kind of encouraged me not to feel guilty about having greatest hits stuff in my collection. Now, I know that, for the most part in the VC, people are pretty cool. I did a thread that did really well recently about greatest hits. And that thread was definitely inspired by Chris. And so to kind of end my thread response here for Richard, I'm going to show The Best of Bread, which was inspired by Chris Mann, who has got he's like the greatest hits guy. So if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely do. And so it's always nice to meet new people in the VC. And, I hope that I have inspired you to check out some music. I know that in the comments stuff, some other channels, A is for Alice, B is for Bob, C is for champion of any music, really. And, I like Vinyl Sean. I check out his channel quite often. I know that they comment on some of the music. They haven't necessarily, I don't think, purchased stuff like that, but they definitely leave some feedback in the comment section below. Morton Astad, Mark Morris, Mark from Twanger's Turntable, all of these guys, really great. Ed from On My Turntable, Steve from Steve's, I'm gonna forget it here. I think it's Steve's Vinyl Retreat. I think that's what it goes by now. And many, many more. Craig from The Spirit of Vinyl. Oh man, the list goes on and on and on. I don't want to leave anybody out, but unfortunately at this point, I'm just running a blank on some others. So I just think the VC is a great community and inspiring just in general. And so those are just some of the records that I've come across through members of the vinyl community, through inspiration. So I hope that I did you proud. I hope I did the VC proud. And, you know, I'd love to know, did I inspire you to buy any vinyl records over the last little while, or at least check out some of the music that I have? I know some of you have streamed some of the songs that I have talked about, so thank you. And yeah, I was hoping this would only be like a 7 or 8 minute video, but I have rambled on to 15 and a half minutes. So here we go. I'm going to sign off. Leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Leave a comment down in the section below. And until next time, cheers everyone. Have a good one.